Will Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom continue after Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars? Well, to answer that question, let's first start with just the Doctor Doom portion, and then we'll focus on the RDJ portion of the question. So, Doctor Doom, he is one of the greatest comic book villains of all time. And it's a shame that he hasn't had the best treatment on the big screen. I mean, I'm honestly shocked. Well, maybe shocked it would not be the right word, but I'm I'm surprised. I'm disappointed. I'm curious as to why Fox, when they had the rights to Doctor Doom and they had the rights to Fantastic Four and the X-Men, I wonder why they didn't like compete with Marvel Studios by putting together their own saga of sorts with Doctor Doom serving as their Thanos and going up against the Fantastic Four and the various X-Men. Now, I know there were actually some plans to try to make that happen, but then Fanforstic bombed and they just kind of moved on from it. Anyway, Disney, they bought 20th Century Fox, and Doctor Doom is now home where he belongs under that Marvel banner. And naturally, Kevin Feige seems determined to deliver us a comic accurate, menacing, tactical, terrifying, yet simultaneously demure Doctor Doom, and RDJ seems equally determined to do Victor Von Doom right. So, I have no doubt in my mind that despite Marvel's recent fumbles, I trust that they're going to deliver a very satisfying interpretation of Doctor Doom for Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think he could end up being the best on screen comic book villain ever, beating out Thanos, Magneto, and even Defoe's Green Goblin. He could surpass them all. So, after that happens, after they give us Doom done properly in these two giant event films, Doomsday and Secret Wars, the question becomes, do they then continue the character following those two huge events, following what Kevin Feige has described as a semi-reboot after Secret Wars, an in-universe reboot similar to the one that we got in the Secret Wars comics, where we see the universe essentially reset and various parallel universes combine into one? And my answer to that is one, yes, of course, we will see Doctor Doom, the character, continue as not only just a character in the MCU, but as a villain. And here's the thing, after you have Doctor Doom as the villain of these two huge Avengers movies, and it having taken the Avengers, the X-Men, the Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and more, all to defeat him, then in order to reset and go back to basics, I think you have to take a little bit of a break from the character after those two huge events. So while I do think that Doctor Doom will be back, I don't think he's going to be back particularly soon. I think what you do is you have the character of Doom like retreat for a while, have him operating in the background, maybe like primarily focusing on like running Latveria, pulling the strings maybe behind the scenes, and then we could learn like toward the end of this next phase, or maybe in the second phase of this new saga, that Doom is back and causing trouble. I could totally see them going that route. Now, the question then becomes, is Robert Downey Jr. going to continue playing the character? Now, Kevin Feige has said that this reboot will allow for them to recast some of their characters, so that could leave the door, of course, open for a brand new actor to come in and play Doctor Doom, the new Doctor Doom that exists in this rebooted universe, and could be viewed as like a very different character from the Doom that we see in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Now, I've heard many people suggest that this would be the real Doctor Doom, which implies that the Doctor Doom who oh my God, he shares the face with Tony Stark, and who is likely a variant with Tony Stark, they're pretty much implying that he isn't the real Doctor Doom. Now, I've always thought the argument that just because Doom and Tony Stark are variants in the MCU and how that somehow like diminishes the character of Doom, I've always found that to be a silly argument. You can do a comic accurate, true to form, full on Dr. Victor Von Doom, who is the character in every single way, and just also so happens to be a variant with Tony Stark. My favorite theory, if him being like a variant with Tony, is that Tony Starks only exist in universes where the Starks, Maria Stark, Howard Stark, where they lose their baby to a miscarriage, and then they decide to adopt a baby from like a foreign country to cover up the fact that they lost their baby. And that foreign country could be Latveria, and they could raise this baby as Tony Stark. Whereas if that hadn't have happened, if they didn't adopt this Latvian baby, that baby still would have grown up, but under the name of Victor Von Doom. So I personally do not support a recasting of Doctor Doom from RDJ to another actor if the reason is, oh, we need the real Doctor Doom. I think that's ridiculous. But I do support recasting Doctor Doom and many characters after Secret Wars if they have like long-term plans for this post-Secret Wars, various assortment of characters, especially Doctor Doom, and maybe those actors or Robert Downey Jr. in particular for Doctor Doom, maybe he doesn't want to commit to playing this character for another 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, he is 60 years old. So if they are like eventually going to have to recast the character, say in like the next 10 years anyway, because RDJ will be at 70 and maybe ready to retire, then maybe it would be best to just go ahead and recast the character after Secret Wars. And by the time Secret Wars comes out, geez, that'll be what? It comes out in 2027. So that's, adding even more time to it. So if they're going to like have to recast Doom a few years after Secret Wars anyway, because he's ready to move on, RDJ, then maybe that would just be the time to go ahead and do it. But, big but, if he is interested in remaining on as the character, I say you keep him. I personally would love to see RDJ continue to play Doom in these movies for the next, I don't know, he could do it probably for the next 15 years if he wanted to. I mean, Doom's always behind his mask, or at least he's supposed to be. So if Robert got to the point, Robert, we're pals. If RDJ got to the point where he couldn't like physically do like the necessary stunts and stuff, well, you could just have a stunt double do it. You could have somebody fill in and do a lot of that, moving around and stuff and like fight scenes and whatnot, and then have RDJ just do like the voiceover work and maybe the more, just kind of like standing around talking and waving his fist type things. And you could also maybe even do like what he did for Iron Man, where they basically just had him sit in front of a green screen and we got what his face looked like from inside his Iron Man mask. You could do that with Doctor Doom as well. So there are ways around it to keep RDJ playing the character, even if he gets kind of up there in age and what he can do becomes limited. And I mean, RDJ seems like a relatively healthy guy. He's 60, and we've got Ian McKellen, who is like knocking on 90. I think he's like 86, and he's coming back to play Magneto. So, I mean, why the hell not? Victor Von Doom is a character who, what's really cool about him is he's just kind of there. He's like this ever lingering threat. He's not like a mwahaha villain that you defeat and he's gone. He's always around, sometimes as a villain, sometimes as an ally. And I think it'd be neat if in this new Marvel Cinematic Universe, where all the characters are there, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, I think it'd be cool to just have an operating Latveria. And we know that Doom is there sitting on his throne, running his country, and that he could always come up as a threat or even an ally if, someone attacks Earth. I really love the idea of the Avengers having to like travel to Latveria and go to Doom's throne and like ask him for help in like fighting Apocalypse or something like that. That would be dope. And here's the thing, RDJ and Chris Evans as well, they are such key pieces to the MCU. They are like the two key pillars of this franchise. So if they're interested in staying on and being like reoccurring characters in the MCU, I say, hey, keep them around. And I think having him play Doctor Doom instead of Iron Man might be an even better solution to keeping him in the universe and just knowing he's there, but maybe he's not in like a ton of movies. He just pops up every once in a while. So if he's interested in continuing playing the character, I say keep him on. And then instead you could recast Tony Stark, recast Iron Man with a newer, like a younger, I should say, a younger actor like Kieran Culkin. Kieran Culkin, I think, would be a great Tony Stark. And hey, by the way, talking about Doctor Doom and Iron Man, be sure to check out our Iron Man and Doctor Doom pointing meme shirt that my wife designed for us here on the channel. Link in the description below. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for those two questions. All right, next we have a question from Hey everybody, Colton here, and this is the mailbag style show where I take your questions about Marvel, Star Wars, DC, movies and streaming in general, whatever you want to ask, send it in at the email address AskColtonNow@gmail.com, link in the description below, and maybe you'll see your question featured right here on the show.